seasonal allergies to food allergies. Dr. Peter Osborne with Town Center Wellness is here to talk about the latest research specifically for people with gluten intolerance. Good morning to you, and you become very well known in our area for helping a lot of people who have those weird symptoms nobody can figure out, and it seems to always be tied to some food sensitivity. First of all, I want to talk about why are food allergies on the rise? Everybody you talk to these days has some type of allergy, it seems like.
Well, there's a lot of reasons why, but if we kind of boil it down, in the last 30 years we've had more changes to our food supply than in the last 10,000 years. Some of these changes are the genetic manipulation of foods that we grow, the plants that we grow. Some of these changes are the additions of chemical pesticides and herbicides. And so with all these fast changes, we haven't had enough time, our human DNA hasn't had enough time really to evolve to be able to tolerate a lot of these changes, and it makes us sick.
Well, it seems like your life mission is to help all these people who are sick from this problem, and it seems like, have the latest research on all of this. And so a lot of the medical community is starting to listen to what you have to say. You had a huge expo for over 1,000 people recently and came out with some new statistics, some new research that's going to scare a lot of people who are gluten intolerant, but you feel like it's important information they need to know. Let's talk about what you have found out about types of food that are often replacements for people with gluten intolerance.
So a lot of people that go on a gluten-free diet end up going and buying the breads and the pastas and the cereals that are made with corn and rice and other grains. And the problem with that is we've identified grains in corn, or rather gluten grains in corn, or gluten proteins in corn, that actually can trigger the same type of response that we see in patients with gluten sensitivity. And so the proteins are so similar that their immune systems will react equally to both types of grain. And so what happens is they go gluten-free, and then they eat a lot of corn products or rice products, and they end up perpetuating their illness. And
this has gone on to even finding out more about different types of seeds and even beans that could be causing some health problems and these people with these intolerances?
That's right. We've got a number of research studies that go back as early as the late 70s that show that there are classes of chemicals, like glutens is one class of chemical, but we also have another class of chemical called lectins that are found within beans and seeds. And these chemicals act very similarly to gluten in that they cause or can perpetuate leaky gut or intestinal permeability. And once this happens, when a person eats and they have leaky gut, they start developing food allergies to lots of different things.
This is scary for people because I would think because there's not going to be any replacement for them. It's not going to be able to just go to the gluten-free section, because it sounds like you're talking grain-free is what they would need.
Well, yes, that is primarily what they need. A lot of the grains, again, they are inducers of autoimmune disease. They are inducers of intestinal permeability. And if we talk about seeds in general, all grains are seeds, and all legumes are seeds. And so from a common sense perspective, look at what Mother Nature created the seed for. She created the seed as a vesicle to protect itself from predators. And so that seed's job is perpetuation of the species. And so as humans are predators of the seed, those seeds have to have some type of ability to protect themselves from extinction. And part of that is chemical warfare against the human gut.
And I have to say that you and I have done some stories through the years together on this, and you've been believing this for a long time about the different types of grains like corn and rice causing problems. And then when you get the flag from different organizations who are very upset about that, when your patients try to go grain-free, all of a sudden they are completely healed from all their problems. So I'm sure you're seeing in your own research that with your patients it's working.
Yeah, we've got thousands of patients that have gone traditionally gluten-free and not responded. As a matter of fact, there was a study recently published. It was an 18-month study where they took patients on traditional gluten-free diets, and 92% of them wouldn't heal. And they went back, and they felt a little bit better, but they wouldn't heal. They measured gut inflammation markers and found that they just weren't healing on this traditional gluten-free diet.
It seems like we see gluten-free everywhere now. Is that because it's just becoming popular, or is it because more and more people are realizing that this is a problem?
Both. You've got the realization that gluten is a problem is we have more awareness. But the other issue is we've got a food guide pyramid that recommends 8 to 10 servings of grain a day. We've got commercials that promote whole grain as if it's a healthy thing. And then we've also got genetic manipulation of grains that has doubled the content of gluten over the last 30 years in our food supply.
It's often hard to get a diagnosis for this, but you offer a DNA test that can really tell what's going on, and you can't deny DNA, can you? I mean, it doesn't lie, I guess.
That's correct. If you have genes for gluten sensitivity, then the thing that triggers those genes to misbehave is ingestion of gluten. So the test doesn't measure whether or not you have an immune response, which is what traditional allergy tests measure. It measures whether or not you have the genetic propensity to react. And if you do, you need to avoid it.
Well, it's very important information that you're getting out there, and I appreciate you coming in today to talk about this because, as you talked about, it's a problem that's becoming more and more prevalent because more and more people are realizing it. It's been tied to 190 autoimmune diseases, is that correct?
That's correct.
From gluten, just ingesting it. So you think more and more people are going to realize that that could be a cause of their problems? What do they look for?
What do you mean, what do they look for?
What kind of symptoms do they need to be looking for if they say, a doctor can't figure out what's wrong with me?
That's what they look for. If they have doctors that can't figure out what's wrong, that want to prescribe medication that don't address the origin of the disease but only address the symptoms of the disease, then they're not really treating the disease, they're only treating the symptoms. So if you're in that kind of scenario where you have all these medications being thrown at you, yet you really don't feel better and the disease still persists, that's what you look for. That's when you seek out additional help.
All right, Dr. Osborne, appreciate your time today.
Thanks.
Keep up getting the good